have two questions in here. The first question, what is Buddhism in layman's terms? That's Buddhism 101. It takes about one semester. So how can I tell you what is Buddhism in layman's terms? It's Buddhism 100. It takes about 3 months to study, and just you study after 3 months, you study just the superficial meaning of it. What is Buddhism in layman's terms? Buddhism is the teaching of the Buddha who existed in history 2,600 years ago, and he abandoned all his sensual pleasures and luxuries. He went into the woods to group with the philosophers in search of a higher meaning of life, which is more than just sensual pleasures. And he believed that there is something more to existence. He believed that there are certain things, there's certain methods to relieve oneself of suffering, the suffering of life and death and birth and aging and sickness and mental afflictions, jealousy, hatred, you name them. There's so many things that lead to suffering that an enlightened being can actually transcend it, these kind of sufferings. And more, he believed that humans can transcend death, life and death, because we've got to die, right? Anyone who doesn't have to die, raise your hand, please. You don't have to die, raise your hand. Anyone who does not have to be sick, raise your hand. You raise your hand, so do you have to die?
No.
You don't have to die? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, of course. Neither do I. Yeah. So, you can't escape suffering. You can't escape aging, death, sickness. You can escape many, many things you cannot escape. He believed firmly in that. And of course, the Buddha got that message not just in the Buddha's lifetime. He practiced and practiced in previous reincarnations. He had been accumulating all this prashta paramita, all this wisdom, until at the end of his mortal life, of that life, 2,600 years ago, before he attained nirvana. Put it in another way, not taking a look at the history, taking a look at actually the meaning of it, and just give you a few sentences to summarize it all. The purpose of Buddhism is to tell people that there's a much higher meaning in life, and if you're in pursuit of that meaning, it would take you into an emancipation from all the mental afflictions and suffering in this life. Looking at it from a present perspective, if you follow Buddhist teaching from the present life perspective, you'll be more peaceful. You'll be more peaceful with yourself and others. But how do you do it? You have to explore into the Buddhist teaching. Not just reading a few books, seeing a few videos, and listening to a few tapes. There was a bhikshuni. Bhikshuni means nun in the ancient China. And she's been practicing under her teacher for many, many years, 15, 20 years. And it seemed to her that she couldn't get anywhere. She said, I was looking for enlightenment. I couldn't get anywhere. I practiced every day. I couldn't really get what I want. He wanted to ask for permission to leave her little temple and leave her master behind, and said, I'm in pursuit of a higher meaning of life. I want to go somewhere else, to different temples to learn for meditation. I want to find out more about it. So she left the temple, left her masters, and went on to explore in other temples and other places, and in up to 20 years, she couldn't get herself anywhere. And one day she said, I got to return to check out if my mother's still alive. Friends in my old town, my old temple. So she traveled back home. And as she was passing by, traversing a grove of cherry blossom, she went under all these cherry blossoms and just smelled the fragrance of the cherry blossoms. And suddenly, in her heart, She uttered a poem. I don't need to translate word for word. But the meaning is, I've been looking everywhere for the spring in my heart. I look for 20 years. I have worn out a few pairs of my shoes. I couldn't get anything. But once I came back to my own town and traversed under the grove of cherry blossoms, I smelled the fragrance. Spring is right here. Spring is right here. I don't have to look for it. Spring is right in your heart. Don't look for that particular spring. Look for that spring in your heart. Don't look for anywhere else. That spring is in you. Don't look for it. That God is in you. Don't look for a God outside. Next question. Is it true to say Buddhism is true peace or happiness comes from within? Do not seek it without. I just said it. The happiness comes from within. Don't seek it without. So happiness comes from within. You don't have to seek without, but you still have to seek it. Don't look for it, but you still have to look for it. Don't look it for the outside, though. It's right here. It doesn't mean that, I don't have to look for it. I sit here and that's Buddhism. That's spring. I got the spring in me. Don't look for it. The spring is in you. The treasure is in you. How do you unlock that door in you? Where's the key? I forgot when I put my key. Then don't you have to look for that key first? Look at that key. That key is in the Buddhist teaching. Somewhere right there. Do you take the trouble of looking for it? Or you're looking for fame, reputation, wealth, sensual pleasures, girlfriend, boyfriend, party? What are you looking for? You're looking for that key, right? You're not looking for sensual pleasure. That key is not in sensual pleasure. That key is not in money. That key is not in reputation and fame. That key is not in your ego. As a matter of fact, as a matter of reality, you have to get rid of that ego to reveal the key. That key has been covered up in your blanket of ego. Get rid of the ego. Then you get that key. You got that pearl in you. It's been covered up. Clean up that pearl. Then it's one brightness. How does someone know, someone in the group of petitioners, that he has attained Arhathood? Why do you have to know? Someone has attained, why do you have to know? Mind your own business. Why do you have to know? Sometimes there's more wisdom in not knowing than knowing. In not looking for knowledge than looking for it. You don't have to know.